This EFL Cup Quarter Final Picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code PLGP to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rebet, a new sportsbook available in 45 states. Download Rebet in the App Store. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. And we're brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And finally, the SGPN College Football Playoff Challenge is live. It's free to enter. There's a $1,000 grand prize. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFP to enter today. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Tuesday, December the 18th, 17th, 14th. It's Tuesday, December. And we are here to talk about the EFL Cup Quarter Finals. 4 games taking place Wednesday and Thursday this week. We've got a busy weekend of Premier League action to reflect upon, managerial changes, all sorts of shenanigans going on. Joining us from, I don't really know where, something weird's going on with Mr. Barry Penaluna. Baz, you get yourself in some right precarious situations. What are you doing now?
I'm currently somewhere in the coast of Lincolnshire, Skegness, as it happens. Don't ask why. We're at Butlins in Skegness. People in England will know exactly what I'm talking about there. I don't know how you would explain this to people in America, to be honest. But it's a little holiday park where we have a little apartment. The problem is our kids finished school this week early, a week early. Every other school still has a week to go, and our kids are off. And me and the missus are supposed to be working. So a 4-night break in Butlins was absolute pennies, like 60 quid for 4 days or something stupid like that. So we figured we'd book 2 apartments, we'd let the kids bring a friend each, and then they could just bugger off and go to the pool or the fairground or the park, and we could sit around and do some work. So this is where I am. So the kids are out at the fairground or something, doing stuff like that. And we're just trying to get some work done. I've been working this morning. I've got the afternoon off, so I'll go and find the kids and probably throw loads of money in the arcades or something stupid like that this afternoon.
Well, that is part of the problem. The fact it's cost you 60 quid to get there is absolutely fine. However, it's got to be costing you 60 quid an hour, surely, while you are there. Yeah, I reckon explaining Butlins to Americans or Canadians might be a bit weird. I've been on enough Butlins holidays in my life. Callum is just saying that there's not quite fruity language, but skeggy in this weather. I'm not sure there's enough money in the world. Baz could make me swap places with you now. Skegness was one of my dad's nicknames for a bit, because my Uncle John and his golf mates, whenever they needed a person, whenever they were short, they would always ask me dad. He was the last resort. So they called him Skegness being the last resort for several years. So he would go, all right, Skeggy, when he came in the pub, which was quite decent crack. Well, I hope you have a lovely time, Baz. Like I say, I don't think I've ever been to Skeggy, but I've been to loads of the other ones. Finally, in places like that.
It was funny. We arrived last night. So, because the kids have brought a friend each, there's 6 of us and only 5 spots in the car. So Helen drove across with 4 children, and I got the train across, which was all right. Get a few cans for the train. And then Helen come and pick me up at the train station. So that was fine. Helen gets here, drops the kids off, and as she's departing to come and pick me up, there's a scuffle, like a proper fight, fists going around in the car park at like 6 o'clock at night.
At the train station?
No, it's at where we are, at the holiday park.
Oh, here?
Oh, yeah, kicking off. So there was fisticuffs. So that was the first 10 minutes of being here, there was a fight. Yeah, I mean, the place stinks of piss everywhere you go. But we saw a Becky Hill tribute act last night. There's a bit of music and a magician tonight.
Oh, so it was a tribute act. I thought it was actually her.
No, that wasn't her. That was a tribute act. It's quiet season. We don't get anyone actually here in quiet season. But yeah, a bit of an eye opener. The police in the car park at 7:00 last night, trying to break up fights in that. But it is what it is.
It's a Rihanna tribute act. I remember the last time I was there. And the other thing is, you all have to check in at the same time on like a Friday. It's like 4:00 Friday check-in. I just remember the amount of Strongbow being emptied out of cars in the car park. I've never seen so much Strongbow in my life getting emptied out of cars on that Friday afternoon when we were checking in wherever we were. Well, Barry, I hope you have a lovely time, mate. Keep us up to date. What's happening? Yeah, I know we had time. What time is it? 12:30, lunchtime. We've got a few people have turned up though. Callum was first in. Callum's commented on my hair. What's happened, Callum, is I went to get my haircut. Well, the boy wanted his haircut yesterday, so I went to get my haircut. And they put that stuff on. It's like talcum powder. I don't know what it is. So obviously, I've just then carried on living my life. And then this has happened. So my hair is off the top of the screen. It's a good 5 inches high, I would suggest. It's pretty impressive, really. So yeah, don't just cut your hair and leave it anymore. He's put that talc on and it's made it go up. Harry, Chelsea, how we doing? Another good weekend for Chelsea. Great weekend for Chelsea. They're the only team that could get a win. Captain Insano. We've not seen the captain for a while. Captain Insano took a couple of games out of me in the NFL pick-em. I was just looking at the scores, actually, about 10 minutes ago, Captain. He's joint top, I think, and I'm 2 games behind in 3rd place, so I need to fill him in. I did give Moonaf a pasting in the NFL fantasy playoffs, though, Baz. So that was good. Riley's just joined us as well. So loads to talk about. Like I say, we've got quite a lot of sort of news and notes to get to, because there are only 4 games that we're going to look at this week in the EFL Cup. The College Football Playoff Challenge, SGPN's first annual college football playoff challenge. Pick the sides and totals for every game. $1,000 grand prize. It's free to enter. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFP. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFP. And Underdog Picking. It's got one of the biggest menus for all sports. Win up to 1,000 times your money with Underdog Streaks. Underdog always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, loads of stuff. Our code is PLGP. We'll get you a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. And Rebet, a social sportsbook available in 45 states. Loads of betting opportunities available on Rebet. Easy to use. Great for people in states where traditional sportsbooks may be restricted. Download Rebet in the App Store. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. I did want to mention, last show we asked for Spotify comments. And being lovely people, you're all obliged. And a lot of people who don't often get a chance to join the live obliged as well. So Simmers, you fat divvy, thank you very much. Simmer said nice things. Henry actually. Show all comments. Henry was saying some nice things as well. Henry from Boston, that is. There's a bloke whose name starts with Y and ends in a 9. Has got lots of X's in. He said things. Patrick, Brian McDonald, Cree, J.R. Cullifay. So thanks everyone who did comment. We appreciate it. I'm sure the bosses have noticed. And keep it up if you can just write any old.
It's not a once and done, though, Malcolm. It's not a once and done.
No. Do it every time. I wrote something on there under the guise of Betty Bamford as well. Right, Baz. Premier League finished last night with Bournemouth v West Ham. Cost me my corned beef pie. I guess somehow there wasn't a 3rd goal in that game. One of the main takes from this weekend, Barry, I saw a news article today. Sales of Spider-Man pyjamas have gone through the roof, Baz. Oh, the Spider-Man pyjamas are back. Manchester United won a match and won a big game away at Manchester City. So that was good. Picks-wise, I went 4 and 6. But I don't really know how I lost. So I have ended up losing this week, first time in a little while. I went 3 and 1 on Saturday afternoon, the 3 o'clock kickoffs. So then I've gone 1 and 6 for the final games. But it was, you know what killed my momentum was the Forest Villa game. So I've won 3. I'm 3 and 1. We've got the tea time game on Saturday, and it's the 1-1 draw of the week. Forest equalised in the 88th minute. I'm punching the air. I was dealing roulette in a bathroom showroom, questioning a lot of my life choices at that point. And Forest equalised, punching the air. And then I saw the notification come through that they'd scored in the 93rd minute. And that just took the air out of all the rest of my bets. So slightly disappointed.
Yeah, I was good for you with that one. There was a potential foul in the build-up as well. It might have been a bit
potential soft. Foul. It was just a foul.
On Matty Cash, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've got a point on VAR, actually. It's just, they've just stopped looking at anything, haven't they? No, like penalties, fouls. The only thing VAR is now looking at is, can we disallow this goal? Like, so there was an offside for Forest when they equalised first. I think it was Chris Wood scored. And it took about 5 minutes looking at the lines and, right, should we put this line on his arse cheek, or should we put it on his actual anus, or should we put it on his armpit or his shoulder? And eventually they got to a way of disallowing the goal. And I just thought all we're seeing now in terms of VAR is these microscopic decisions to try and disallow a goal. Anything happening in the box anymore, they're just not bothering. They're just like, nah, referee's call. And that's fine. Like, that's what we've wanted. Like, just get rid of it for me. I'm not bothered. But it's changed massively, because there's a few decisions this weekend where I thought last season they were sending him to the screen for that all day long. So it is very different at the moment, VAR, for certain.
It's kind of, you're staying with the on-field call, which is kind of what we said. Like, you might as well just let the referee get it wrong rather than some other people. Because we did say VAR should just be called another bloke's opinion, because they were just getting stuff wrong. So just let the ref get it wrong. It saves all the pissing about.
But the only problem with it, Malcolm, is I think the problem I've got with that, Malcolm, is I think a lot of the refs have got into this habit of not giving things because they think VAR will bail them out. So now you're possibly getting to the position where I'll leave that, because if I'm wrong, they'll tell us I'm wrong anyway. And then VAR's thinking, oh, well, he thought it was this. So there is a possibility we get it even more wrong by doing that. Like.
But yeah, great weekend for Chelsea. Arsenal couldn't win. Liverpool was a really good game, actually. And they couldn't win. Manchester City couldn't win. So yeah, good weekend for Chelsea. And you said it, Baz. The league's just hard. Like, they're all the good teams, all the teams you'd expect. You'd expect three of the four sort of to win every week, and they're just not, because there are a lot of kingmakers. Say the two handicaps, I picked Arsenal and Manchester City. Lazy kind of -1 picks. I was like, well, they might sneak a win and I'll take me push. And really, it just didn't happen. So maybe got to do better in games like that. I had Palace down as my dog, and then I asked you if I could change it to Newcastle Leicester draw. So that worked out well at fucking 5-1. That finished 4-0. So not a million miles away. Bournemouth, West Ham, there was more than enough chances in that game. Chelsea team total, they should have got there. So yeah, 4 out of 10, but wasn't miles away with loads. And like I say, one goal away from the corned beef pie after hitting as well. And obviously the 1-1 draw of the week was a little bit of a killer. Bars, picks wise, any good?
I'm sitting here listening to yours and thinking, between us, we probably had a winner in every game, because I had a terrible Saturday and then turned it round on the Sunday. Sunday, I was 1 goal away from hitting everything. I had the Brighton Palace over 2.5, the Man City corners over 7.5. Spurs to win and over 2.5 goals was the easiest bet of the week, despite you telling me I was an idiot for backing Spurs. Took about 14 minutes.
You're still an idiot, but it was possibly.
You're right.
Yeah, they won, but that wasn't all.
An idiot.
You could do it again this week.
Close on a few things. I mean, the Arsenal win to 0, sort of kicking itself a little bit that with a 0-0. Last night, like you, I needed another goal. Last night, there was other good stuff for me, though. Last night was the ladder, and it only got 2 steps up, but it got there. We needed 4.5 West Ham corners. They got to 6 quite early. I think they didn't have another one in the second half, in the last half hour. So we got to 6 West Ham corners on the second step. Bournemouth corners was the way, or match corners, because I think Bournemouth had 11 or 12. Would have been the way to play it last night, but that was okay. Underdogs, I put out 2. I said I was torn between Palace and Ipswich. Both of them won. I went with Palace as my underdog. No, sorry, I went with Ipswich as my underdog pick, but I did put out the 2 of them. Really, that should have been mistake in Stilton, shouldn't it, Miles?
I was just going to say that, Baz. Yeah, that's a missed opportunity.
Thinking myself a little bit there. But my corned beef payak, I won 5-1. I had over 2.5 goals in the Wolves game, the Brighton game, City game, and Spurs. So a little bit fortunate because late goal in the Wolves Ipswich game. Brighton cashed easy enough. But obviously the City game, over 2.5, again, was late goals. So fortunate, but 5-1 winning Aka was put out as well. So yeah, the bonus stuff, underdogs, Akas, and the ladder went okay this week. Goals, it's a goals league again. It's an overs league again, Malcolm. Your big Aka was both teams to score in every game apart from the Arsenal game. I think if you've fell 1 goal short, have you?
No, 7 it was, because Southampton didn't score in the end. Southampton-Leicester.
So which was the other one?
Oh, well, that was it.
So you've only missed out by a goal, haven't you? Is that right?
Southampton need to score and Leicester needed to score.
Southampton and Leicester, yeah. But not a million miles away.
7 out of 9. It's not terrible.
And then looking at the overs, I think 8 out of 10 games finished over 2.5 again this weekend. And we looked at similar last week. So definitely want to keep an eye out. Goals. Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned nobody's defending. But yeah, there's goals all over the place again at the minute.
Right, catchers wise, I think we'll have to start with a couple of managerial sackings, Baz. Gary O'Neill at Wolves was basically inevitable after that. They lost again. They lost their discipline again. I'm not quite sure what was going on there. But just this morning, they've appointed Vitor Pereira. They've gone back Portuguese. Wolves love that. Someone opened that shop outside Molineux, didn't they? Just sells custard tarts. That's always on the telly. Yeah, so Portuguese custard tarts are back in vogue. I didn't mind Gary O'Neill. I didn't dislike him. Just got very strong PE teacher vibes off him. He'll be fine. He'll do a half decent job at Plymouth. Like after Wayne Rooney gets sacked, Gary O'Neill will just be there for a few years, and they'll finish 13th in the Championship, and that'll be fine. Vitor Pereira, I don't really know anything about him apart from he's just been at a load of shit places. Obviously started in Portugal, won a couple of 2012 with Porto, won the league maybe. He's won a Greek Super Cup. He's won the Chinese Super League. He's now at Al Shabab, or was at Al Shabab before he's joined Wolves. So what he can do, I've got no idea. And then obviously Russell Martin got the bullet at Southampton. Fuck knows what he was trying to achieve. Negligent and idiotic from day one. Would be my opinion on him. They're absolutely down. He's taking them down in an attempt. It was an exercise in vanity for him the whole time. So that was all ridiculous. Luckily, after the opening game, we wanted rid of them anyway. So I've really enjoyed their demise. They've been dog shit. Anything on either of those, Baz?
Not really. I just think it's become the thing now, hasn't it? No, you can't get to the halfway point and be in the bottom 3 and not lose your job anymore. I don't think that's always been the case. But now, like you said, these two were inevitable. And I think a few years ago, they possibly weren't. People got a bit more of a chance. People could come up, get relegated and still keep their job. A bit like the Luton manager did last year.
How's that worked out?
I know it hasn't worked out well. But now, I think, if you get to December and you're in the bottom 3, you're probably going to lose your job. A bit disappointed that Ruud van Nistelrooy didn't get the Wolves job or the Southampton job. because previous to this weekend, there'd been 2 managers sacked, and both of them were replaced by Ruud van Nistelrooy. Man United, Leicester. So that streak ended. Unfortunately, Wolves didn't appoint Ruud van Nistelrooy, which would have been interesting. Weekend stuff. Got to mention the Man United Man City game, haven't you? Man City just look absolutely broken. And what a dog shit game it was, by the way. Man United rightfully delighted with the result, but Christ, they were bad again, Man United. Nothing that would make me think anyone would be fearing them in the coming weeks. But City just, as soon as the equaliser went in, you felt something was going to go wrong at that point, because I don't know where they've gone. They're just the first sign of adversity at the moment. They just look like they're going to fall apart, which we saw a few weeks ago, 3-0 up and draw 3-3. No way back for City in terms of the title this year, I don't think. Top 4 is probably now the aim, and even that might be a stretch if they carry on like this much longer. Could be the end of an era. Who knows? I think it needs a massive overhaul. You're just looking through the team and you don't know. It's hard to see how they turn it round quickly, because it just doesn't. One thing they've done for years, isn't it, is they've had this really solid squad, and they just top it up every year with another 50, 60 million pounder. And the last couple of years, it's been the likes of Doku and Savinho, and they just haven't done it, have they? They haven't come in and replaced the players that have gone out, in terms of like Alvarez or Mahrez and things like that. So yeah, I think they're falling a long way back, and hard to know what to do with Man City these days from a betting point of view. That's for sure.
They do seem to have let a lot of good young players go. With like Cole Palmer, obviously got paid for him, but then you look at Liam Delap and McAtee at Ipswich, and there's quite a lot of players that they've let go. There's been kind of nothing underneath, and they have got away with it. Sunday was the closest I've watched them, really, and they were totally dysfunctional, Baz. They were absolutely terrible. But you're right, that was an absolute dog shit game of football. Man United have come out of it smelling of roses. The fans think they're back. Until Nunes plays that awful back pass, they would have lost. If Nunes hadn't played that back pass, they would have lost the game. Man City was shit. Deflection on the cross gets them a goal. Man United were absolutely terrible. And then the back pass somehow gets them a win. I think you're right. It didn't tell us anything about Man United at all. Kevin De Bruyne looks absolute toast. He looks completely and utterly finished. Kyle Walker looks completely and utterly finished. It was just a mental game, and the results kind of clouded what Man United. Man United are a little bit of a fly in the ointment, because he left out Rashford and Garnacho. They're going to come back in this week and be able to do things for Man United in the League Cup. Does the fact that they hung around in the game and were then able to go and win it, is that a positive side for Amorim? I quite like Amorim so far. I'm not happy about quite liking Amorim in the same way that I've quite liked Slot. I don't want that. I want them to pick a pair of bell ends so I can hate them.
I like the fact he was prepared to leave. I like the fact he was prepared to leave Rashford and Garnacho out entirely, just because he doesn't like what clothes they wear or what food they eat or something like that. I like that attitude. So we'll be interested to see if they do come back in, to be honest. On the subject of Kyle Walker, you mentioned there, I messaged you the other day to say, is Ben Brereton Diaz still on the tit list? And he is.
I've got the tit list out, Barry. Here it is.
I'm making the case that for a similar egregious behaviour, Kyle Walker should replace Brereton Diaz, just to keep it more current. And we can almost have a spot on that tit list for tits like that sort of behaviour, which is unacceptable. Kyle Walker made a proper tit of himself, so get him on the tit list. I'm sure you agree. And Brereton Diaz is irrelevant now, isn't he? He's gone. Forget about him. The other thing I wanted to mention from the weekend, Arsenal fans unveiled a mural near the ground. Do you know what was on the mural?
I have no idea.
It was a mural of their set-piece coach.
Fucking hell.
8 corners against Everton, no goals. Get in the bin with that.
You should try appointing an open play coach. Maybe that might do them fair. That's a good idea, isn't it?
And I did say last week. Go on if you're on the same subject, because this is a new one.
No, that's just
No?
utter woke nonsense, isn't it? Yeah, go on.
I did say last week we didn't have time, but I was going to declare the death of one of my pre-season bets.
Yeah,
This is
what was it?
possibly one of the worst bets I have ever had. Pre-season, I predicted that Phil Foden would outscore Cole Palmer. How many goals has Cole Palmer got?
About 14 or something.
11 in the Premier League. And Foden,
Has Foden got 11 minutes, let alone goals?
he's got none. So I'm officially sticking a fork in that one. It's done. I sit and watch football every week and see Palmer score and see Foden minging about doing nothing and just chuckle at myself at how ridiculous that was. My handicap of that was that I didn't think Cole Palmer could get tons of penalties again, and I thought he wouldn't quite hit the same levels. But I'm happy to hold my hands up and say I was entirely wrong. He will still score lots of goals, both from the penalty and from open play. And Foden's
yes, you were entirely wrong there, Barry. So yeah, I've scrubbed Ben Brereton Diaz off the tip list and replaced him with Kyle Walker, who joins Mikel Arteta, Rio Ferdinand, Michael Owen, Mark Goldbridge, and Anthony currently. And the Hall of Tits, Cristiano Ronaldo and Jurgen Klopp. That's still up in the air. We haven't inducted the Hall of Tits. And the other little bit of news, Harry's just mentioned it in the chat earlier on, was Mikhailo Mudryk for Chelsea. He's got a drugs ban this morning. Not that he was doing anything anyway, apart from playing once every 2 weeks in Kazakhstan for the Conference League team. But yeah, a bit of a drugs ban for Mudryk. Nothing much else to add on that.
I'm assuming the drugs he was taking was like marijuana or something that slows you down and makes you really tired or something, because it hasn't improved his performance, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely not. Right, there you go. I think that's it. You got anything else to put a bow on the weekend, Baz, or are we done?
Yeah, happy to move on and fire out some picks in this EFL Cup stuff.
Fire out some EFL Cup picks. Once I've told you about mybookie.ag, our sponsor for years here on SGPN. The new website's greatly improved. It's very good on mobile. You've got props for every game. You've got the live dealer casino. You've got early cash out options. Head to mybookie.ag with the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. And finally, Rhythm. Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform. Helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build a model for you. You can track your props. There's NFL, picks, props, college, football, basketball. Rhythm's got it all. The thing to do to claim your 7-day free trial is go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Okay, EFL Cup Quarter Finals. 3 games on Wednesday, staggered starts. 1 game on Thursday, starting with 7:30 on Wednesday is Arsenal taking on Crystal Palace. Arsenal are the 8-19 minus 238 favourites. The draw 7-2 plus 350. Crystal Palace 13-2 plus 650. I'm still not quite sure what to make of Arsenal, particularly. Everton, you can add to the list of teams they haven't beaten. Fulham the week before. Palace were in better form than Everton, so you'd like to think you could sort of factor them in, give them a little chance here. As always with League Cup games, team selection's a big old deal. Now, Arsenal have beaten Preston and Bolton, and the team selection for those games, I don't think it'll tell you all that much, because they were able to rotate heavily in those games without it costing them. So I don't really know what they're gonna put out here. I would have a look at the teams. It's 6:30 on Wednesday. If you're trying to compare it to the league form, it's home against bottom 8 teams, 4 wins and a draw. So Arsenal have put away the bottom half teams, Everton being the exception at the weekend. But Palace are doing well. They're on a high after their derby win against Brighton at the weekend, where they played well. They're now unbeaten in 5. Against the top 8, they've drawn 3 and lost 3 in the league. They won at Villa in the last round of this competition. I took them at a nice price on the road, that one. They've been competitive. However, it's the goals market that I've gone into, Baz. 9 of Palace's 16 have gone under 2.5. And 10 of Arsenal's 16 have gone under 2.5, including 3 in a row. Arsenal playing the unders. Palace can defend properly. There'll be a few changes, which I think will just fragment the flow of the game. So I'm hoping for a bit of a slow burner here. And the under 2.5 goals is plus money, Baz. 21-20 plus 105, under 2.5 goals.
Ooh, not sure.
We
can both win. We can both win. Arsenal, as you say, they drop points now in back-to-back games in the Premier League, failing to beat Everton at home at the weekend, which will hurt more, seeing that Liverpool drop points as well. A bit of a chance for them to close the gap a little. Wasted opportunity. The goals have dried up again for Arsenal, and I think it's clear to see that's possibly going to be their biggest problem from time to time this season, with no out-and-out goal scorer there. Palace, you've mentioned unbeaten in 5. They've only got 1 defeat in 9 as well. So getting up a bit of momentum now. They actually play each other at the weekend as well. Back-to-back games for Palace and Arsenal. We've got them in the league at the weekend. You've mentioned checking the team lineups, in this competition in particular. I think the later it gets in, quarterfinals now, I think it's probably less of an issue, particularly for like Arteta, who does need to win a trophy. They'll see this as an opportunity to try and to get some, and they might make a few changes, I think, but we'll see. I was a bit stumped with this one, if I'm honest. I didn't like it at all. Probably my least favourite game on the card from a betting perspective. I wanted the Palace handicap initially. I think they can keep it within a goal. I think they can keep it tight. But Palace plus 1.5 was just a little bit too short. So instead, I'm going to give Palace a goal. Palace in good form. They've only failed to score once in 9 games now. I know Arsenal have had a few clean sheets, but there is potential they might make a couple of changes because they have had the odd injury in that back line. So they might see there's an opportunity to give them a little bit of a rest. I think Arsenal might nick it by a goal or so, but they'll need a couple of goals to do so. Both teams to score for me between Arsenal and Palace. Both teams to score at evens.
Forgot to mention, Wig Raider joined us in the chat. Wig Raider, loyal listener, but doesn't often catch you live, so nice to see you. Okay, second game on Tuesday is 7:45. A game I will be missing. Fortunately, Baz, I've got a job. I'm in the Vermont Hotel in Newcastle tomorrow, so it's one of Bob's mates' birthdays. So Bob and his mate are going to this one. 7:45, 2:45 Eastern kickoff between Newcastle and Brentford. Newcastle are 11-20, minus 181. The draw 72 plus 350. Brentford 92 plus 450, Baz.
Yeah, this fixture took place just a couple of weeks ago, albeit with Brentford as the home team. As we know, Brentford can win at home. They can't win away from home. 4-2 winners, Brentford that day. Newcastle were absolute garbage. Neither team bothered defending on that occasion. Newcastle put in a solid performance on Saturday. Much needed, that was. Still wasted a lot of chances early on in the game, particularly. And I think that's become a bit of a thing for Newcastle. Even in the games we've lost lately, we've had chances early in games that we've wasted. We let teams hang in and then let them take advantage of that later on. So that's a bit of a concern. Anyway, back to this one. I think it's got to be goals. Brentford games are always worth a punt on goals anyway. 4 in a row for Brentford have seen both to score. 3 of the last 4 Brentford games have went over 3.5 goals. And Newcastle have just seen 16 goals in the last 3 games. All 3 of those games went over 3.5 goals. That's where I've gone here. I think over 3.5. The game of the other week could have been any score. 4-2 was the final score. Could easily have been more. And I think we might see a similarly open game here. I've taken the over 3.5 goals between Newcastle and Brentford at 5-4.
Yeah, that was my starting point, Baz, actually. I've got a slightly different bet, but it had to be goals. Newcastle's 4-0 win over Leicester really meant nothing. Because the problem with Newcastle is they've been unreliable. So until you get a succession of similar performances, whether they're good or bad, you don't know what they're going to do. And when I saw the Leicester team on Saturday, Newcastle were an absolute shoo-in. Like Leicester are capable of causing problems. Like Harry Winks and Ndidi is a centre CDM pair were both missing, and it was Oliver Skip and Hamza Chowdhury. They had no chance. And then at half time, the keeper, who was one of their only good players, goes off, and they bring on Danny Ward, who couldn't keep chickens. Like everything went Newcastle's way. So really, you've just got to draw a line through Newcastle's form there. But we did take the over 3.5 goals due to recent form, and it hit again. I think Newcastle will make the available changes to them. Longstaff, Willock, Barnes, Kelly, maybe Trippier. So not massive drop-offs. They're not playing a load of kids, even if they do make some changes. Brentford were clearly second best against Chelsea, but did make a game of it in the last 5 minutes, scored a goal, hit the underside of the bar. It should have been done and dusted by then. So the Chelsea team total pick didn't win, but the way the game was played panned out how we thought it would be. Over 2.5, both teams to score. That fitted with everything we knew was going to happen in that game. 6 of their 8 away games fit that pattern. I wasn't really very keen on this game, but it just has to be goals. And that's the pick I've made, Baz. Both teams to score with over 2.5 goals. That's 6-7, minus 116. Third game on Wednesday night is an 8 o'clock kickoff between Southampton and Liverpool. Southampton are 13-2 plus 650. The draw is 9-2 plus 450. Liverpool are 1-3 minus 300. Obviously, bit open-ended this one. Southampton having sacked Russell Martin at the weekend. Another pathetic effort against Tottenham. I mean, what you're doing in training all week, you say, right, lads, come on, let's have a real good go now. Sunday night on the telly, let's keep it tight, let's have a game. By 7:20, they were 4-0 down. Like, it was pathetic, absolutely pathetic. They should have sacked him, like, after 20 minutes, just marched him out the stadium, like, arm up his back. This is a bit of a free hit here, I think, for Southampton, because if they get beat 5-0, so what? I don't know who's going to be in charge. They did knock Manchester City out of this. In a similar situation a couple of years ago when we ended up playing them in the semi-final. Was after Southampton beat Manchester City at home in the quarter-final. They've had some mad games in this competition so far. They won 5-3 at Cardiff, knocked Everton out on pens, and then beat Stoke 3-2. So tons of goals kicking around. And then the league game last month against Liverpool finished 3-2. Liverpool put a lot into that game against Fulham. They played 80-odd minutes with 10 men by the time you add on the extra time and stuff. Emotionally and physically put a lot into it. They played very, very well. Goals has got to be the way to go here, Baz. Over 2.5 is very, very short. 2-5, minus 250. But I think Southampton can join in here. I did want to factor Southampton in. I considered the draw, considered Southampton outright or draw no bet. But when they lose this game like 6-1, I'll feel really stupid. But Liverpool conceded twice against Fulham. They conceded 3 times against Newcastle up here last week. They conceded twice at Southampton. And they'll have some tired legs going into this. So they'll either have some tired legs or they'll make some changes. Either of which, I think Southampton team totals live. Liverpool might win 3-2 again. 18-1, that is. The Southampton team total is 5-2, plus 250. To score over 1.5 goals. I reckon Southampton could join in here in a bit of a shootout, Baz.
Bold pick. Again, we can both win our picks, but we might need that 3-2 to come good again. I mean, Southampton continue to waste everybody's time, particularly their own fans. And to be fair, most of their fans didn't waste more than about 20 minutes because
they were all by 7:30, weren't they?
There wasn't many of them wasted 90 minutes at the weekend. So maybe they took a bit of sympathy on them and sent them home early. Russell Martin's gone. I'm not sure what that's going to do or what sort of bounce back they're going to get. I'm not sure there will be one, but you might be right. They might be competitive. Liverpool might make a few changes here, but then what does it mean? Bring in Jota, Nunes, Harvey Elliott, maybe. Like, the type of players Liverpool can bring in will still put out a really strong lineup here. They'll be strong enough to get past Southampton, certainly. Southampton did give them a tough game the other week, losing 3-2, haven't gone ahead in that game, but they've just conceded 5 to Chelsea. They conceded 5 against Spurs a few weeks ago. I like Liverpool here. I think the Liverpool handicap looks good at 10 to 11, or the team total. And ultimately, I went for the team total for the reasons you're talking about. Southampton could get goals, and we did see them do that the other week. I still wouldn't put anyone off the Liverpool handicap to win by 2 or more at 10 to 11. But at the same price, I've gone for Liverpool to score 3 or more as my main pick here. So Liverpool over 2.5 team total at 10 to 11. So yeah, get on that 3-2 at 18 to 1.
By the way, on the subject of Russell Martin, do you know it was Mrs.'s?
Is it Chris Martin from Coldplay?
It is not Chris Martin. Do you know the name? I'm going to look hard at your face here when I say this name to see if there's a flicker of recognition. Do you know who Lucy Pinder is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The large-breasted page 3
Yeah.
girl from
Yeah.
a few years ago. Yeah, he's boffing her. So maybe Russell Martin's got it all right, and we've got it all wrong. Anyway, well done, Russell. The final game here is on Thursday, 8 o'clock, kick-off, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Tottenham Hotspur taking on Manchester United. Tottenham are 13 to 10 plus 130. They've actually drifted a little bit. They've 13, round about 11 to 8 plus 137. So a little drift on Tottenham. The draw's 11 to 4 plus 275. Man United 9 to 5 plus 180. Baz, I think I know what your pick is here. Go for it.
Maybe. You might not like it again. You didn't like me back in Spurs at the weekend. And I said at the time I understood it. I agreed Spurs should be on the do not bet list. But they did come good for me at the weekend. And then I came to this one still wanting something to do with Spurs, despite the fact both teams won at the weekend. As I say, I felt stronger about Spurs than I did Man United, because Man United really did look poor. And I'm not going to let that final result cloud the performance against Man City, because it wasn't very good. We know Spurs are hard to trust, and realistically, any outcomes on the table would it surprise me if Man United go there and win? Not necessarily, but I did want a piece of Spurs somehow. If Spurs win, I feel they'll get 2 goals to do so. Their last 4 wins have all saw them score at least 2 goals, and even when they're not winning, they've failed to beat Chelsea, scored 3 goals, failed to beat Roma, scored twice, failed to beat Galatasaray, Brighton, scored twice. So Spurs don't even need to win. They just need to score 2 goals for me. I've gone for the Spurs team total. It's a tight one to finish off with, but I've got a couple of better prices in the earlier games. So I'll finish off with Spurs to score 2 or more at 8 to 11.
That's fair enough, Baz. Tottenham were on the no bet list. I say were, Baz, because I may well have beckoned them down here, got them on my side. That 5-0 win at Southampton changes nothing for me. For Tottenham, a little bit like Newcastle winning 4-0. Southampton were just a giveaway. Like Man United were rubbish, but won. That also changes nothing. Obviously, as we said earlier on when we did the eye catchers, but Man United is the more interesting story here. Obviously, you've got a manager trying to work out what he can do with that squad. Will Rashford and Garnacho come back into this team and suddenly be reborn and be trying the bollocks off and wearing the right clothes and eating the right thing for their dinner? Has this manager got a little bit about him? So they're kind of the story. But other than that, they were rubbish. Other than a defensive calamity in the 89th minute by Manchester City, Man United lose that game with a bit of a whimper, to be honest, against the Man City team who were absolutely dysfunctional. We'd be sitting here laughing at Man United if he hadn't made that back pass and then compounded the error by running back and twatting Ahmad as hard as he could. Tottenham battered them 3-0 at Old Trafford not so long ago, 6-7 weeks or something. They're the better team and they're at home. I think that's it. I like that angle quite a lot, don't I, Baz? They are the better team and they are at home. I think Tottenham are a great price, Baz. I'm going to take Tottenham 13 to 10 plus 130. That'll be my pick in that one. It's Cree's joined us. Cree, good morning. 2 wins and 4 defeats for Cree this weekend. A little bit rough. Baz, that's the 4 games in the hatch. Have you got anything else you want to add?
No, I'm going to get out of here because children have arrived and children will start making noise. So I will soon be trying to keep them entertained.
Yes, I did see you just frantically waving your arms around.
Keep your noise down for 2 minutes. I'm nearly done type of thing. Yeah.
I've got someone ringing me now. I'm setting up, Barry, a blackjack training school in my front room this afternoon because I need some staff between now and New Year. So I've got people, I mean, honestly, again, talk about life choices. Yeah, so blackjack training school in my house this afternoon. If anyone wants to come and learn a new trade, you've got about an hour and a quarter to get round here. Right, thanks, Baz. Enjoy whatever the hell you're doing. Good luck with it. Thanks, everyone, for joining us at this weird time. Premier League picks probably Thursday night, something like that. In the meantime, good luck with all your bets. Go and write something on Spotify if you get the chance. And until then, we will see you all down the road. Cheers.